It can't be a good thing, can it, to be more nervous for the more known people than the ones that are just your friend. But here I am, a little more nervous because today I'm speaking to Chris Martin, who I know enough to say hi to, and I've done a couple of things with them, a couple of singing things that you're probably unaware of, but which loom large in my memory. I don't know where he is, he's somewhere in the world, and he's about to make contact with us.
Rob?
Chris, how are you?
I was just fast asleep, I'm sorry.
Oh no! I just had a nap, if that counts, but that's an afternoon nap. I'm guessing where you are, it's the middle of the night.
No, this is the same. I think we're on the same time zone.
Oh, where are you?
I'm on an industrial estate somewhere in London.
Oh, you're in London?
Yeah.
Oh, so you were having an afternoon nap as well?
Rob, it's lovely to see you, man.
It's lovely to see you.
Thank you for your patience. I know you asked about this a while ago.
I think when you were forming the band about however many years ago, and you said, well, give me a little time. And I'm like a James Bond villain. I said, you know, it's all right, Mr. Bond, I can wait.
You asked me about napping, and
yeah,
I don't sleep very much in the nighttime.
No.
But I meditate, and I also occasionally take a nap, and I learned about that I didn't learn about that, but I was encouraged on that by Conor McGregor's trainer, who's called John Kavanagh. After we played in Dublin last time, I went to train at their gym, and he said the key to life is making yourself lie down for 15 minutes and close your eyes in the afternoon.
But you strike me as this guy with boundless energy. I would have said, if someone said to me, does Chris Martin sleep a lot at night or a little? I would have said he gets 12 hours.
The truth is, Rob, I really like being awake, you know. And also, I think that songs tend to be flying around between about midnight and 2. I often get inspired or something arrives.
Wow.
And then if that happens, then I can't wait to get back up again. So that's what happened last night. That's why I didn't sleep so much.
Some people think you just sit down with a bit of paper and try and bang it out, but you just feel it coming. You try and jump on it at that moment.
Well, I equate it with fishermen or surfers or anyone that sort of deals with nature, basically. Well, we all deal with nature. So I think you have to love the craft of it and sit there. And I have on my phone, you know, thousands and thousands of voice memos that are, I would say, less inspired and more perspired.
Do you think that one of the best lessons for a creative person is to just do that, have that discipline of writing stuff down when it comes to you?
Yeah. I read a poem by Lorca, this Spanish poet. There's a poem I read yesterday about him talking to the muses and saying, can you just let me have a night's sleep, please? I think I made an agreement with myself a few years ago when I started noticing that songs or ideas were flying around. If something comes calling, you have to get up and get it. Everything else in my life comes from that sort of fountain, and I don't know where it's coming from.
So I always ask people, because everybody I've done on this so far has been a friend, somebody that I have some connection with, and I ask them, do you remember where we first met? I'm perfectly willing for you to not remember where we first met, but where did we first meet? You don't remember. I will tell you. I'm not going to let that pause hang there. Let's assume you were about to remember. It was at the O2, unless I'm misremembering this, at a charity gig that you were doing a small set at the end of.
Oh, Coldplay. Yeah, I do remember this. Yeah.
Remember?
It was under one roof, yeah.
That's right. I go along to this thing and I'm going to do 10 minutes of stand-up. So then you invite us to come to the Wembley show and the Head Full of Dreams tour. And after the show, there was a party and you came up and you gave me, there are only 2 badges that I prize. Now, one is that one. Can you see that?
Yeah, I got one of those.
Of course, you've probably got a gold one. That's a blue.
It's a multicolored one.
I've got the base. I got the entry level Blue Peter badge.
But that's genuine. Did you get that when you were a young person?
No, I got it when I did the voice of a character in a film, and then I met Lindsay from Blue Peter on the red carpet at the premiere. So quite a flashy way to get one. But the other one is this one that you gave me.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is, now what's the story behind, you're wearing it now. I really treasure this, Chris.
I just really like them.
Is it your design? Where did it come from?
It's my friend's design. And I thought, I really like the idea of wearing that all the time, because in those moments where you're tempted to be a real aggressive or really aggressive or something, I feel like it might just cool things down a bit, especially if you have one to give people. And yeah, so I wear it all the time.
Well, I really treasure it. Then you're going to play Cardiff, the Millennium Stadium, a few years ago, and we were going to go, and I thought, shall I email Chris and say I'm going? I thought, no, because wherever they go, he'll get emails from every Tom, Dick and Harry saying, oh yeah. So I thought, no, I won't do that. But we booked seats to go, and then a few days before, you emailed and said, much to my surprise, would you come on and sing the Welsh National Anthem?
Yeah, that was Will's idea.
Was it? Yeah. Well, I
you
said,
were my idea, but his idea was the anthem.
And my initial reaction was no, because it's very difficult, and I don't speak Welsh, and there's a lot of words. So I said, oh, look, I don't think I do this. I told my wife. She said, what? You said no? She said, what is wrong with you? She said, learn the damn thing. So
our concerts are really fun, and I love them all. There were two moments on that whole tour that had this extra zing, and one was that in Cardiff when you came and sang the anthem. It becomes more about the collective oneness than it is about the band or who's famous, I feel like that's all by the by.
Yeah, well, that's one of the great things about your shows, which people have to experience to acknowledge. It is more than a music show. It's quite special.
Thanks. That's what we're aiming for. But it's special. I love people, and I feel like I get to meet, in a strange way, thousands of people. In fact, we realized a few months ago that we wondered how many people on Earth get to have been in a room with about 10 million different people.
No.
And of course, that makes it much easier to believe in the sort of oneness of everything if you've experienced it. And then the other moment was in Argentina, where my friend had said, you should play this song by an Argentinian band called Soda Stereo, a song called La Música Ligera. And we played that, and that was probably the best musical feeling of my life ever.
Better than the one with me singing the national anthem.
Yours was a close silver.
Oh, right, that's a shame.
But it was pretty great, Rob. You were wonderful, and you were gracious and sweet, and it was nice to have a proper tenor on stage.
You know what happened with that, though? I was wearing these things I got in now, these in-ear monitors that you pop people wear, and it was giving me a feed of the band, but I discovered to my dismay, there was no feed of the crowd. So you gave me the biggest introduction it's possible to give anyone. You were so generous before I came on about my voice that everybody there must have thought it was Tom Jones. You said he's a Welshman, he's got the best voice in the world. I was under the stage going, oh God, no, they're going to think it's Tom Jones, right? And you said, Rob Brydon. I came out and I couldn't hear a thing because I was only getting a feed of the band. So the crowd did cheer and I heard nothing. So I came out going, oh God, no.
But you must have felt okay by the end, Rob, surely.
Not by the end, Chris, by 2 lines in. You look down, you can see. But that initial thing, when you're thinking, oh God, no, I mean, God, it was absolutely astonishing. It was amazing.
Guesting in someone else's concert is a nerve-wracking experience every time.
Yeah.
So thank you for doing it.
You told me a story when we were practicing in the afternoon, and you have a mobile studio. You said you had a room where you're able to record if you want to.
Yeah.
Is that part of that thing of ideas may come, and if they do, you want to get them down?
Yeah, and also there's some downtime sometimes, and we've always worked in a way where we have quite a lot of time separate from each other. So any place that we are all in the same place, we try and have some form of recording equipment around, because there's a difference when we're all in the same place.
Is it important to have time apart so that you can all stay on good terms with each other?
Yeah, and also that's sort of how it's always worked. Even in when we first got together, when the other three were drinking a lot, that we would go out and then I would go home and work, and then when they came back I would show them, and then they would add their. I equate it to like when you see an animation, the beginning of the animation is a stick drawing. I feel like my job is to provide those.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And so I like to have time, and then Johnny likes his own time. Our guitarist, he likes his own time to explore what he's going to play on top of that, and he always used to feel like it was a bit too much pressure on him when I said, okay, here's the song, let's go. What have you got? Yeah. So everyone has for years now has their space, and then when we come together, it's more like in some ways shooting a film. We sort of know what we're going to play, but then we play it together on record.
The other one I was watching in preparation for this, I watched that great thing where you brought Barry Gibb out at Glastonbury. Tell me about that.
So with the Bee Gees, that came from thinking about Barry being a human man, and he's lost his brothers and he's lost his band.
Yeah.
And Glastonbury is sort of our home show, and we were just thinking, well, who's never going to be able to play Glastonbury that we think is special and magical and has had an influence on everybody, and that's when that idea came about, and so he was very gracious about that. Your Barry Gibb impression in The Trip season 3 is wonderful. Two demons at a price of one.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, of course.
He goes, hello everybody.
This
is Barry Gibb. Join me this Saturday night at the Nashville Civic Centre.
That's the sole reason I'm doing this interview, just to get you Barry Gibb. You and Steve, for example, that's like a little band. There's something you can do together that you can't quite do individually.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what bands are. I think that's why I love, particularly The Trip is so special to me. It's because you're seeing the magic of people who are clearly gifted from God or whatever you believe in. Clearly got gifts, you've got super talents, but then there's this magic of surprise and the element of like surprising each other. What you can collaborate on didn't exist 5 minutes ago.
Yeah,
that is why I love being in a band.
That's a good way of putting it. Didn't exist 5 minutes ago.
Yeah,
I remember so many times on the different trip. We did 4 trips, and you'd get together, and sometimes with very little idea of what you're going to do, and you'd be sitting there in the blazing sun somewhere with your, sticking to the seat because it's so hot there, and all right, off you go, and then when you, I suppose, like fishing, you just, maybe it's like this with a song, I don't know, but you go, oh, I think we're onto something here. Oh, I think we're going.
Yeah.
And other times you stand in the river for hours, and you go, oh, nothing.
One thing I feel super grateful for is that even after lots of years meeting actors and meeting other musicians and stuff, is that whether you know them or you become more familiar with their real human life, I still can get really lost in the magic of what people make. So even though I know that you're the real Rob, I can still really get lost in The Trip.
About your voice and singing, dairy, discuss.
Yeah, I don't fuck with dairy anymore.
Yeah, dairy is a thing. I mean, I was doing some singing and I'd always heard this thing, no dairy, and I thought, and I was rehearsing, and my singing guy, the musical director, said, have you got a cold? And I said, no. And he said, oh, no, you just sound like, I said, I've got a cold, what are you talking about? And off I went to guzzle more milk. And then I stopped and I went to a guy who did a massage thing with your larynx, a guy called Fabi something. He's does West End Singers. Okay. It's astonishing. And now I don't have milk.
Well, what's funny about when you try and stay really healthy is there's still a voice inside you that's like, yeah, but. And my yeah, but voice is about, because I grew up in Devon, which you're almost washed in and wheat. And so there's still part of me that, although my body feels healthier and I'm singing better, there's still part of me that would throw it all away for 4 Weetabix with double cream. I did milk a goat the other day.
Oh, do you want to talk about it?
But I didn't partake.
So it was for the benefit of others. All right. This is Barry Gibb saying, thank you, Chris. Thank you for everything you've done. Thank you for Glastonbury.
Thank you for my life.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much.
Love you, Rob.